Camelback Ranch in Glendale, Arizona. The Cactus League schedule continues, and a couple of teams that'll meet up 19 times during the regular season meet for the first time this spring. The Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. Joe Davis or Hershiser, Houston Watson joins us in just a moment. Hope you're having a great week as the spring training continues. With the Dodgers at 5-3 overall, the Diamondbacks at 4-5. And tonight, we get to see Clayton Kershaw make his second start of the spring. First one on Friday against Kansas City. Couple scoreless innings.
10 regular season starts last year, 7 in the playoffs. He probably wants to get the regular season number up to about at least 30. And the postseason starts, I think he would take 7 again. But this being his second outing in spring training, it's all about health. It's all about getting to halves of the plate. Maybe feeling a little bit more comfortable out there and experimenting maybe with the arm side strike to right-handers. He worked the righties mostly in the first start.
At a 2.16 ERA last season during the regular season, top 5 in the league. It was his best since 2016 and followed that up with a great postseason as well. First pitch coming up on Sportsnet LA. Was in Los Angeles for a lot of the day. 66, a little bit of a breeze, not too bad in Arizona for this spring training matchup between the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. Before first pitch, we go to the field with Kirsten Watson.
Thanks, guys. Well, I caught up with Corey Seager the other day just about what it's like coming off of such a storied season, being the World Series MVP, the NLCS MVP, and asking if he carries that momentum into this season. And as much as I thought he would have, he corrected me and he said that is just not the case. He looks at each season as a clean slate. And he said that, comparing a winning, you have to look at a winning season as if you had just lost and try to get over it so that you can move forward and reset. But he did say that he does look forward to the home opener when they get to celebrate and get their rings. That's when he can look back on the last year. Back to you guys.
All right, Kirsten, and not the kind of guy that's going to take a step back and really soak it all in, really at any point. Probably the kind of character that is only going to do that when his very long career is finished.
I'd be surprised if his car has rearview mirrors. He's looking forward through the windshield.
Lineup that Clayton Kershaw will face off with tonight looks like this as the Diamondbacks travel over from the other side of town. David Peralta will lead things off and start in left field for Torey Lovullo. Carson Kelly will be the starting catcher during the regular season. He DHs tonight, bats second. The shortstop Josh Rojas hits third. Former Dodger Trace Thompson having a good spring training so far as he tries to make a big league roster for the first time in a few years. He's in right hitting cleanup. Stephen Vogt catches and bats fifth. Then Josh Van Meter, the second baseman. In center field, Dalton Varsho. Pavin Smith was the 7th overall pick in the draft a few years ago. He hits 8th and starts at first. And Andy Young, the third baseman, rounds out the lineup for Arizona. So here is Kershaw, 6-2 with a 2.16 ERA last season. It was his best since 2016. 62-8 strikeout to walk ratio. And then, of course, the big thing, what he did in the postseason, went 4-1 with a sub-3 ERA, won both his World Series starts, Game 1, and then, most importantly, Game 5 after that crushing Game 4 defeat when really everything felt up in the air with a series tied at 2. That great performance even on a night where he didn't have his best stuff by his own admission in Game 5.
Well, here in spring training, he is trying to put that in the rearview mirror and build for this year. And this whole team is trying to build for another championship through a 162-game season if they get to play them all. And I think Clayton feels healthy and raring to go. I think today, for him, he's going to be critical of himself a little bit more than he was in the first outing. I think it was about strikes and just feeling that you're healthy and getting a feel of the mound in the first outing. I think this one, he'll be wanting to hit the target a little bit more often.
And just in terms of raw numbers for this one, he went those 2 innings in his first start. He'll look to go 3 innings tonight. Perhaps finish it off with an inning down in the bullpen. All set for baseball as Peralta climbs in, and off we go with a foul ball and strike 1. Now, Kershaw said the mindset is the same. You expect to win. You hope to win. It's just now it comes with a bit of a sense of relief having won it. And the motivation no longer a negative one of pressure. We've got to do this. We've got to find a way. But the motivation, he says, is we're really good and we should win. You can't blow the opportunity to win.
You enjoy winning now that you have the crown, and they will have the ring ceremony and get their trophies, the miniature version of the large one that we saw on the field after the last game of the World Series. But from that day forward, they're going to be looking to do it again.
1-2 on Peralta. Now, there's a really telling quote, and he's said it a few times recently, but that you don't realize what you're carrying while you're carrying it. He was talking about the pressure that came with having not won a World Series before last year. You just get so deep in it, right? It's hard to pull back and really see what you're feeling until you don't have that feeling anymore.
Yeah, they were carrying it for sure, and it was an immediate motivation for every player on the team.
That ball is hammered to right. Betts turns around and watches it fly for a leadoff home run. David Peralta, quietly one of the more consistent hitters in the National League the last few years, has a solo shot to open the game, and it's 1-0 Arizona.
Cracked the 300 average mark last year. Always been a good fastball hitter, and here Clayton in his second outing working on the fastball, going arm side, trying to get it inside. The ball creeped over the middle of the plate, and Peralta made him pay.
By the way, did you see that note that Kershaw hadn't given up a run in spring training since 2017? That's the first one since then, and I'm so glad we didn't lead with that, because then that home run would have been our fault. Carson Kelly right back up the middle. The flex off Kershaw. Taylor at third with a bare hand play. Chris Taylor getting some time at third base this spring, and nice bare hand pickup for the first out of the night.
And Clayton's fine. I think it got all leather out of the ejector mitt. And then Chris Taylor with a very much a heads-up play over there at third, understanding that the only chance he's got is to get him in the hip, though. Taylor with the nice play. Is Kershaw okay? No visit.
Josh Rojas looks at a strike. Yeah, he'd gone 30 innings in a row without giving up a run in spring training prior to that leadoff home run. He was coming for you, Hershiser. There's a curve, first one of the night, 0-2. And a slider that gets Rojas to offer. First K, 2 out.
Right fielder batting fourth, number 30, Trace Thompson.
Very vintage slider from Clayton Kershaw. The ball has great carry to it, looking like a strike for a long time.
Rojas takes a seat. Now Kershaw gets ready to face Trace Thompson. Already has hit a pair of home runs this spring. Good to see him back in a major league camp. He's a guy who, coming up in the Dodgers system after he came over from the White Sox in a trade, I mean, this is a guy they were talking about as a future all-star with the Dodgers. And we saw some times where in games you thought, yeah, they ain't kidding. But then injuries bit him. And as we've seen in the Dodger organization, with as deep as they are, if you lose your spot, it's hard to get it back. And he never did. And looking to get back to the majors for the first time in a few years now.
It's a shorter clock when you put on a Dodger uniform on how long you have to impress and how long you have to develop once you make it to the big leagues. We feel like even the guy in the shot there, Gavin Lux, might be on that clock, and it'd be a little shorter this year.
Another good slider from Kershaw, 2-2. Lux having a good spring.
Well, you move from being a top prospect to getting an opportunity to it's your time.
Josh misses, full count.
Giving up the home run to Peralta, but he looks very crisp out there on the mound, and he looks like he's got plenty of energy and health.
Home with the payoff pitch. Thompson pulls a ground ball to third. Taylor's got it. Low throw, but Muncie's there. The inning is over. Starts with a David Peralta home run, but then Kershaw sits him down in order, and the Dodgers come to bat for the first time after this. Here back on the Dodgers for the first time tonight. Leading off will be Mookie Betts, starting in right field. And the shortstop, Corey Seager, hitting second. Austin Barnes is the catcher. Max Muncy at first base batting cleanup. Chris Taylor, a couple plays in the top of the first inning. That's fifth. Beatty's at left. Rios DHs. Kevin Lux at second base. And DJ Peters will roam center field. Pitcher for Arizona is Seth Frankoff. 3 games in the majors in his career. 1 in 2017. 2 last year. And between those, a couple of quick big league stints. Had a couple years in Korea.
Just 5 innings last year with Seattle. He's got a fastball around 94. There was quite a few cutters at 89. Got the changeup. Has a curveball, but you probably rarely see it unless he's brought it along in the offseason.
Starts Betts with a couple of strikes. In a 1-0 game. Breaking ball is in the dirt, and it's 1-2. Mookie Betts. We were talking about it before the game. Obviously, so many things that he does well. But the get off the bus test that some guys win, you think of like Yasiel Puig, the former Dodger. Bouncing ball to third. Backhand play by Andy Young, and he just gets Betts in time. Mookie not going to win that test. As far as you didn't step off and you say this guy's the strongest or the biggest, don't even necessarily look like he'd be the fastest or wiry strong, but he somehow takes all of those qualities and he's got it in that package.
Yeah, you get off the bus and you have David Price get off, then Kershaw get off, then Corey Seager get off, and then the MVP gets off. And you go, that's the MVP?
Yeah. Here is Seager, who takes in the dirt, ball 1. Is Seager a little more the get off the bus test winner? They say that he's even more solid this spring. He got in such a good place physically with his workouts, coming off of the injuries going into last year, but doubled down on that. He lofts his ball into left field, back to the wall, and Peralta makes the catch. Nothing looked dead about that ball. Seager's out number 2.
Must be a little breeze blowing out the left field there. Glendale. This one just Peralta just kind of saunters back, starts feeling for the wall, but not really changing his gait at all. And captures that one pretty easily before it arrives against the fence.
2 up, 2 down, brings up Barnes. Wouldn't you agree that Corey Seager, maybe more than any guy on the roster, elicits the reaction of people the first time they see him of, wow, I didn't realize he was that big?
Yes. The television does not do him what he looks like in person. He's impressive.
Bouncing ball towards the middle off of the bat of Barnes. Van Meter will have no chance to get him. And Barnes with an infield hit. First base runner of the game for the Dodgers.
Shortstop Josh Rojas ended up being the cutoff man on this play. Had to watch his lips on this throw. Coming across, he's like, I get his glove up, watch his face there.
So 2-out base runner, and up comes Muncy. Is Seager very broad-shouldered, even when he first broke into the majors, when he was still very scrawny, had those wide shoulders, so you knew there was weight to be added, frame to put it on. And the last couple of years, he has really grown into that frame. I think Robert Van Scoyoc, the Dodger hitting coach, said he right now is looking a little bit like an NFL tight end.
Cal Ripken had that same persona. You know, you see him on TV, but then when you see him in person, you go, oh my gosh. And both playing shortstop, where back in my day, you would think of more of the Ozzie Smiths and, you know, the Nomar Garcia Parrs and the Derek Jeters. Well, these guys are big and strong.
2-0 on Muncy. And before Cal Ripken, you would look at that body and you'd say there's no chance they play shortstop.
Yep.
Ripken was the trailblazer when it came to bigger players at short. You still have detractors when you get guys that are that size trying to play the position. The night Corey Seager was drafted, MLB Network talked about how he's probably going to move off short sooner rather than later. 3 balls, 1 strike on Muncy. And here we are all those years later. Seager's still playing it short, coming off a MVP performance in the postseason.
Chris Woodward, the manager for the Texas Rangers now, did outstanding work with Corey Seager with his footwork. And really making him into a shortstop that you can trust.
2-out walk for Muncy. Back-to-back 2-out base runners getting Chris Taylor to the plate. Good spring so far for Taylor. Hit a 2-run home run in last night's game and is leading the club with 6 runs driven in total.
He's got that little buggy whip swing where he kind of coils it back and then launches it. And when he gets locked in, he can carry the team for a good month. There's some serious electricity in those hands.
Well, he felt that at the end of last year, he was in as good a place as he had ever been. Just the overall game. Yeah, likes where he's at so far this spring. It hadn't always been the case during spring training. I think he'd be the first to tell you that a lot of times he's searching at this point. So way ahead of where he normally is mid-March. Breaking ball is drilled foul. And it's 0-2.
He's got some little idiosyncrasy timing mechanisms. You'll watch him as the pitcher goes into his delivery. You'll see the little wrist cock with the bat. Maybe see the barrel of the bat kind of angled towards the pitcher. And then he's got another little movement with maybe both of his elbows to kind of load it up and then waiting for the front foot to land and then just launching if he likes the pitch.
One hangs inside and it's 1-2.
All those little movements are specific to, yes, he could swing the bat and makes him feel comfortable, but you've got to get him on time so that as your eyes pick up the ball and the body's in rhythm with what you're seeing.
Some subtle mechanical changes that he made last year to accomplish that. He said what he felt like it did for him was everything slowed down. The ball looked like it was coming in slower.
Sandy Koufax used to say to me, see how easy you can throw hard? And I think that's the way it is for hitters too. It's see how easy you can swing the bat fast.
Swings through that one to end the inning. Dodgers get a couple of base runners but don't score against Frankoff. And after one in Arizona, 1-0 Diamondbacks.
Dale, I recently came across this incredibly interesting story from Kershaw in a conversation he had with Tim Kirkshin. And he was asked if he could build a perfect Dodgers pitcher from current players, what that would look like. And he said arm speed, Walker Buehler. The body/build would be Dustin May, because you want someone who's tall and lanky, strong, around 6'5". The best breaking ball, Trevor Bauer. Best changeup, Tony Gonsolin. And the best sinker, he did mention there were many guys on this team who could throw incredible sinkers, but he'd have to say maybe Gratterall, maybe Trinan, just due to how well they can do it. But I thought this was something that was just so fascinating to see, how someone could think of all the different players and bring them into one for the perfect pitcher and exclude himself.
Yeah, what a great question from Tim Kirkshin. Stephen Vogt leads off this inning against Kershaw. 1 ball, 1 strike. And I saw that recently in a conversation with Molly Knight on The Athletic, she asked him if he could take one pitch from across baseball and make it his own, what would it be? And he said, from Greinke's prime, the power changeup. 1-2.
That power changeup was like 92 miles an hour.
I know.
It wouldn't be much of a change of speed for Clayton.
It would be pretty even.
But it had some depth.
And he would have to grunt loudly while he delivered it.
Yeah, and throw with his right hand.
Yeah, that's true too. That would be quite the tip, wouldn't it? It's going to be a change. He's got it in his right hand.
When we took the tour over to Japan, I got one of those gloves that was made by Mizuno that you could put on either hand. It was very interesting. So he'd have to have a glove like that.
Slap to short, backhand Seager. That'd be the Pat Venditti glove.
Yeah, it's a very. When I saw it, I traded my jersey to get it.
I'm pretty sure that Pat Venditti and his dad worked with Mizuno reps to get that glove invented.
Well, it's long. He might have been 2 when I got one.
Oh, this was that long.
Oh, this is a long time ago in the 80s. So
his dad had great foresight.
Yeah.
Josh Van Meter. The base is empty and 1 out.
That orangish brown leather that Mizuno would make gloves with back then. Kind of stood out. It was hard to develop a pocket in it because it's kind of, you want to catch it in different places, depending on if you got it on your left hand or right hand.
Look out. Buzzes by Kershaw. Taylor shifted over there. Has been busy. Throws off of the bag, and Van Meter's aboard. How you ruling it?
It's going to be an E4 or E5 at 4.
6 M. The 1-on-1 out in a 1-0 game. And here's Dalton Varsho. Speaking of gloves, you know, Clayton Kershaw is using a new glove for the first time since 2009. He decided to retire.
His World Championship glove.
Right. Put it in a glass case in his office. The old Black Wilson. That thing had gotten old.
Mm-hmm. Many a repair, I'm sure.
Foul ground, third base side, Seager. Route number 2. How often did you replace your glove?
I broke a new glove in every year, but I didn't use it during batting practice. I would have my gamer, which I wanted the back of the fingers to stay firm so that the hitters couldn't pick up any tension that I put on the glove with the gripping of my curveball or the gripping of my sinker. So there were certain portions of the glove, especially the fingers, that I wanted to stay firm so that they couldn't see the glove movement. But you wanted the pocket nice and soft and the webbing soft.
Pavin Smith looks at ball 1.
If you use a glove as long as Clayton Kershaw does, people think of, oh, the glove repair is mainly just the stitching or the leather, that's the thin leather that ties the different pieces together. But some gloves are used so long that they actually have to sew leather into the palm of it because it starts to get ripped. And sometimes they can even take a glove apart and put fresh cotton in and then put it back together with the same existing leather that you have. The glove companies, how they cater to the big leaguers is just tremendous. They have vans that'll go around to the different camps and they can make gloves. They can take padding out of certain areas if they want it. They can add some leather. They'll do all kinds of things for them to make it comfortable.
Curve bucket his knees 1 and 2.
That's one of the ways that the glove companies and the spike companies learn about new developments in equipment, is just talking to the big leaguers and adjusting their equipment.
You never had any ideas for him, right?
Oh, we had some long conversations.
2 and 2.
The black bottom hat was something that I suggested. I started with, they moved the bottom of the hat from green, the traditional green, to gray, a light gray, because autograph collectors wanted the bottom of the hat autographed. They wanted to be able to see the autograph. Well, the light gray or white under there was glary in day games, so I would start black Sharpieing it out. Well, the fumes from the Sharpie would bother me during the game.
The black ink on the forehead probably wasn't a great look either.
Well, I asked New Era, can you put black material under there? And they did, and other players started seeing it, and that's the way they started making it.
Kershaw strikes out Smith, his second of the game, and it's 1-0, middle 2. David Peralta hit a leadoff home run. No hits against Kershaw since. To the bottom of the second, 1-0. And Matt Beatty takes ball 1. Beatty in competition for one of the utility spots on the roster, one of the final couple position player spots. Had the breakout rookie season in 2019. Never really gained any traction in the shortened 2020 season. And I think when we were together first day of spring training, you talked about him being a guy who you figure over 162, it would have played out a lot differently.
I think it would have. And when I think of Matt Beatty, I think of the 7th inning on, coming off the bench in a key situation, and I'm glad he's coming up. And I think as far as in the battle for that position, I think that's one of the key ingredients for him to make the team.
Very quickly, he became a guy you not only trusted, but wanted to see in those big spots.
And that is a tool that is very valuable, especially on the Dodgers, as flexible as they get in the second half of a game.
Tomahawks his high fastball foul, 2 and 2.
You know, early on, we learned how comfortable he was in the batter's box, not only from his own quote of that's his best position on the field, to watching him in those situations, not melt down and bring the same rhythm and the same intensity to those moments that he did with 2 outs, nobody on in the first at bat of the game when he's up there.
380 career hitter with runners in scoring position. Leading off this second and running the count full against Seth Frankoff. Rios and Lux to follow. On a 3-2, Beatty swings and misses on a change for strike 3. Second K of the game for Frankoff, 1 gone in the second.
Outstanding changeup, the delivery, the arm motion. You see all that arm speed, and then the ball comes out like a cream puff. Like a crumbled cookie.
Oh, baby. Don't even get me going on those. Vegas chain. Need to get him to LA. Ball 1 on Rios.
That'd be quite a franchise to pick up.
Just look into that.
Since you introduced those to our family,
yeah,
we've been back like 3-4 times. Oh, yeah.
Rios scrapes that one off of the deck. Bouncing ball to Smith at first. 2 up and 2 down. Arizona 1, the Dodgers nothing. Bottom of the second inning, and here comes Gavin Lux, who has, through the first couple weeks of games in spring training, done everything the Dodgers had hoped that he would do, and a lot of the people closest to him anticipated he would do, given the offseason that he had and where his swing was coming into camp. Boy, that's a smile you didn't see a whole lot of.
I was just going to say, you know, I not only analyze how the guys look in the box and their swings or their pitches, but I look at a lot of faces, and his face is completely different.
Big face guy, huh?
Big face guy as far as how they react to the situations.
Well, Gavin is hoping that he's able to take a lot of what he learned with last year's struggles and apply it moving forward. In a really good headspace right now. They think if they can get him off to a good start, he could have a big year. This is somebody who was the best hitter in the minors, not just in the Dodgers system, but in all the minor leagues in 2019. Well, last year, just a choppy season, as it was for many.
He's fortunate to have Dave Roberts as his manager, because Dave was not always a star player, was a young player that broke in, and just such a great communicator with guys, especially when they're struggling. He's such a good motivator and kind of a very even hand with those guys.
Chases his curveball in the dirt, and a couple Ks in this inning for Seth Frankoff. We've played 2. Diamondbacks lead at 1-0.
By authority of the Los Angeles Dodgers and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Dodgers.
Stream every regular season game live or on demand with MLB.tv online or on your favorite supported devices, as well as select spring training games. Blackouts and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
9-hitter Andy Young pounces on the first Kershaw offering of the third and rolls it foul. Leadoff home run for David Peralta in the first inning. Kershaw has not given up a hit since. Lone base runner came on an error. Couple Ks, no walks. 1 ball, 1 strike. 32 years old, Clayton Kershaw will turn 33 a week from Friday as he gets ready to enter his 14th year in the majors. 2-1.
When you're encouraged by I have a lot left in the tank, gives a lot of confidence to everybody around you. There's an enthusiasm to someone who feels like they can compete at a high level, the level that they're used to. And it's great to hear that from Clayton because, you know, through some of the trials and tribulations of injuries with the back and different things, you know, you can feel and sense not desperation, but concern that is this starting to go downhill? And for him now, watching him last year and now in this spring, this is exciting.
Buries that one for a swing and a miss in the first out of the third on his third strikeout tonight.
People feed off of that. When you walk into a locker room and you're the veteran star, the guy that people have followed and want to be, and you walk in with an energy like that, hop in your step still, and you go into the weight room and you go into cardio and you're running the sprints with the guys and you're throwing your side work and you've got energy, people feed off of that.
Back to the top, and Peralta hit the home run, looks at strike one. And Kershaw has talked about his evolution, you know, where he's, as you look back at Peralta's home run, long run of the game back in the first inning. He said, look, you get older, you decline. It's what happens. But he felt like his was happening too quick. You mentioned the back injury. That happened when he was still in his 20s. So he said, there's got to be something I'm not doing. And at that point, he says he became a little bit less stubborn. Stubbornness is a good thing in a lot of ways. And for him, stubbornness is a big part of what got him to where he is. But as he started to open himself up to other sources of information, other ways to keep his body healthy, other ways to work as a pitcher, he's gotten back to a really good place. 2-2.
You're always building a foundation. When you come up as a youngster, when all of a sudden you are a bona fide big leaguer and then are developing as a star, which happened very quickly for him. But you're always looking for that foundation. But when your regiment, the things that have been your foundation, are not working, it's good to change.
Serve softly to short. Seager off balance, throws him out. 2 gone. He's come up with a workout plan that he feels like is really the right one for his body, and has his back in as good a spot as it's been in a long time. And gives a lot of credit to Brandon McDaniel and the Dodger strength and conditioning staff, Dodger training staff, for helping him get there. 2 up, 2 down. 40th pitch of the game for Kershaw is at the knees for a strike on Carson Kelly.
That department has had a lot of great stories, a lot of success stories. The Justin Turner story, coming back and being an everyday player. Even Chase Utley when he was here with the Dodgers.
Corey Seager coming back from the surgeries.
For sure. That's an asset that every organization doesn't have. You get players back sooner than other organizations, and they're on the field. That's huge. It's one thing to have a roster. It's another thing to have them on the field.
Home with an 0-2. Lifted to left center field. Sends Beatty on a sprint to the track. He'll watch it bounce. Extra bases with 2 gone here for Kelly as DJ Peters picks it up and throws it in. 2-out double.
Shortstop number 10, Josh Rojas.
Well, Matt Beatty tracked this like he's got a chance to catch it, and once he gives into I'm going to go try and catch it, he gets close enough to the wall that the carom makes it a sure double. And with 2 outs, that's the way you want your outfielder to play that ball. Capture the 3rd out, or if it caroms off the wall, it's going to be a double anyway. Give me the effort.
Gives Josh Rojas a chance with 2 gone. 1-0 game here in the 3rd as Kershaw delivers. Rojas wraps a ground ball to second. Gavin Lux is there, confidently throws low and dug out by Muncy. The inning is over. Nice play by Muncy to probably save a run there. It stays 1-0. It for Clayton Kershaw tonight. 3 innings, 3 Ks. Gave up the 1 run on Peralta's homer. And Kenley Jansen getting ready to come in.
Both the hits that Clayton gave up were on 2-strike pitches, but that is pretty typical of Clayton in spring training, attacking the strike zone. And even in the regular season, he doesn't like to waste pitches.
9-1-2 for the Dodgers against Francoff here in the 3rd. DJ Peters leads it off, takes ball 1. Dodgers have been very happy with the spring Peters is having so far. Showing improved plate discipline. Still the kind of pop that has made him such an intriguing prospect. Kind of pop and kind of athleticism. One and two.
It's quite a lever system that he has, and he can line that thing up. The ball goes a long way. It's just kind of like Edwin Rios, looking for a little more contact, because when they make contact, it's hit hard. Is the towel on to come out and warm up and maybe face a hitter? Is the towel on to just rest while they're hitting and then jog to the bullpen and get some extra work down there? We will find out.
Got another handful of starts between now and the real thing as you continue that build up. I guess the expectation is much different where you're built up to opening day these days than 10, 20, 30 years ago as Peters goes down swinging. You were expected to be able to go the distance on opening day.
Yeah, you built up for that. Usually it was the adrenaline that would take you to 9 innings on opening day, and your second to last outing was going to be like a 7 or 8 inning outing in spring training, and then a workout for your last outing of spring training, and then get ready, here you go. You know, you're not coming out of the game until you're failing.
Mookie Betts leaves that one upstairs, ball one. Grounded to third his first time. Mookie announced recently that he is starting an AAU basketball team, sponsoring an AAU basketball team back home in Nashville, Tennessee. Loves hoops, Mookie does. Grew up playing. Was a all-region point guard in high school. Ahead here 2-0. So he's funding the program to give kids in that area an opportunity.
Who owns your team? Oh, Mookie Betts.
Turns this one around on a line off of the glove of Van Meter and into center field. One out hit for Betts.
Pretty easy to hold kids on that team that Mookie is starting to certain standards, with the standards that the owner shows, and the work ethic and the attention to detail. That'll be quite a team to make and play for.
One on one out for Seager. Attacks the first pitch. Nice play down there by Clayton McCullough, who they say has really blended in well in his first season as the first base coach. Last couple of years, one of the top instructors in the minor leagues, replacing George Lombard. He went to Detroit to be A.J. Hinch's bench coach. Ball and a strike. Longtime minor league manager Clayton McCullough. Before he came to the Dodger organization, he was with Toronto. And a former catcher as a player. Curveball is lofted to left field, sending Peralta back at the wall and gone. Opposite field, 2-run home run for Corey Seager, and the Dodgers take the lead.
That's the difference from a couple of years ago, where those slicing fly balls came to rest on the warning track or even short of that. But last year, more backspin, more carry, more power, more the A swing.
So 2-1, the Dodgers lead. Very familiar way to get it done right there. Betts singling, Seager homering. And now 1 ball, no strikes on Barnes, who looks at ball 2. Seager's second home run in his last 3 games. He's driven in 5 in that span. Vogt with a visit. The 32-year-old Seth Frankoff actually spent some time in the Dodger organization. 2016, he split between AA Tulsa, AAA Oklahoma City. Before going to the Cubs, making his big league debut. One game in 2017. Finally made it, and then didn't make it back for another 3 years. Softly hit into the bat to third. There's Young, out number 2. Couple of games last year for Seattle for Frankoff. Did sign a minor league contract with the Diamondbacks, who are giving a lot of guys opportunities to stick this year, especially in the bullpen, where they are going to be very young and inexperienced. A couple of late signings, Tyler Clippard and Joakim Soria, but a lot of young guys are going to get opportunities for a Diamondbacks team trying to bounce back from a 25-35 year. Only the Pirates had a worse record last year. 2 gone. Muncy, ball 1. What do you think? Is he coming back?
They're talking about it. That was a nice look there, a little smile with his pitching coach, Mark Pryor. It's taking a little too long. You sure you don't want to just go to the bullpen? Nah, not really.
Not a big pen guy. On a 2-0, Muncy fouls it, 2-1. Another guy off to a good start this spring, Muncy. Jansen continues to warm.
Yeah, that was a full release on that swing. That's an extension.
Caught on the line by Josh Rojas, who has shifted over there. And the inning is over, but the Dodgers go from down 1 to up 1. First it was Betts singling, and then Corey Seager taking a breaking ball and sending it to the opposite field. After 3, it's 2-1. Was correct. That was it for Clayton Kershaw. Goes 3 innings, gives up the leadoff home run to David Peralta, and that's it.
Well, Clayton was on his game. Yes, he gave up a run on this home run, and it was a 2-strike pitch, but just the other hit. That was it. 2 hits, 3 Ks, and of course, no walks. Attacking the strike zone. The slider was sharp. We saw some curveballs from him. He got quite a few ground balls. Over 50% of his outs were ground balls, and you had those strikeouts in. It was a nice, solid outing.
And usually when it goes from Kershaw to Jansen, Kershaw's just thrown 8 innings, but tonight it's Jansen for the 4th. In his 3rd appearance this spring, not giving up any runs yet. That's strike 1 to Trace Thompson. Kelly trying to recapture consistency. Still flashes in there. The dominant closer. Won reliever of the month. First month of the season, and so first half of the season last year is the National League reliever of the month. Couple blow-ups in September, and struggled at times in October as well. But there are some games where he'll go out there and he'll say, that's it. That's old Kenley. He's just trying to find a way to channel that every time he steps out there.
The rhythm in his delivery here tonight is a little quicker. When he goes to start from the set position, watch, there's very little hesitation in the backside. He's moving right through it and being very aggressive here. We've seen many a time when he's been on the mound that you could actually break down like 3 pieces. The ball coming out of the glove, kind of a delay at the bottom side with the ball in his hand, reaching down towards the pitching plate, and then the pause over the rubber as he comes through. But this is a lot smoother.
Strikes out Trace Thompson for the first out.
We talk about all the time how hard it is for closers to pitch in situations other than closing situations. That's where they build their earned run average, and you just kind of cast it off to the side because they hadn't pitched for 5 days and they needed to get out there, so they threw him in a 4-run or a 5-run lead or deficit. And these spring training games are just as much a mental activity to get pumped up.
Strike one on Stephen Vogt. I mean, 4th inning of a March 11th Cactus League game ain't going to do it for you. What is it, March 10th? March 11th? 10th?
You got to find something to get the adrenaline going.
You talk about how the delivery and the tempo looks a little bit different. They've tried just about everything the last year and a half, 2 years to unlock whatever it is needs unlocking. Change his workout regimen a little bit. Less bulk, more focus on flexibility, mobility. And they talk often about getting his body in the right place to fire. And a lot, you mentioned earlier, you know, the transformations that have happened with the strength staff. That's not all just lifting weights and getting strong. A lot of that is mobility and correct movement patterns. That's been more the focus on him as opposed to strengthening a part of his body.
If the flexibility in your hips change, if the internal or external rotation of your shoulders changes a little bit, there's a lot of things in this equation that make it all match up.
Back-to-back Ks to open his ninth.
He's definitely got a quicker pace here, even in between pitches and in the delivery. A little wider stance also when he comes set. We had the shot from the low third camera where you see Kenley come set and there's more weight on the front leg because, of course, the hill taking towards the mound. If you have that width, you're going to be standing downhill. And then you see him rock into his back leg with that width and that weight on the front side. And then he comes forward.
That's ripped to the right side. 2-out hit for Josh Van Meter, who's been on both times tonight. He's trying to turn it into a double. Luke Raley, who checked in for Betts, throws him out. Outfield assist for Luke Raley. So single for Van Meter, but he's gunned down trying to turn it into 2.
Are available at home through Dodgers home plates. From Dodger dogs to garlic fries and nacho helmets, get a taste of the ballpark experience delivered on demand. Search for Dodgers home plates on Postmates and order your stadium favorites for the next game now.
All right, Kirsten. Chris Taylor leads off this inning against Seth Frankoff, who pitches into the 4th. Dodgers in front 2-1 and a Corey Seager home run last inning. Taylor struck out his first time. Rips a line drive to short that's caught by a leaping Rojas for out number 1.
First baseman number 45, Matt Beatty.
See, that one dove on him a little bit. Top spin. So just the one hitter here in the 4th for Frankoff. Torey Lavello will make a move into the pen, but a good impression, you would figure, left by Frankoff tonight.
In the truck game.
On Sportsnet LA is brought to you by the SoCal BMW Centers. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Dodgers ahead of the Diamondbacks 2-1 on a Corey Seager home run as we welcome it back to Glendale, Arizona. And a new pitcher for the Diamondbacks, Joe Manaply, who, similar to the starter Seth Frankoff, made his major league debut several years ago, then was in the minors for a couple of years. He went 3 years between big league outings. 2016 with the Tigers, didn't make it back until 19 with the Yankees. Debuted with Arizona late last season and trying to make the pen out of spring training this year. His 0-1 to Matt Beatty. Sidearm slapped to short. Backhand Rojas. 2 out.
Manaply, not a electric fastball. He'll run it up there about 92. But he'll throw you a handful of sliders in that bat. He throws it about 40% of the time. So from that left side right there, he's trying to become a left-handed weapon for the Diamondbacks.
Base is empty, 2 out. Here's Rios. Made 4 appearances for Arizona last year. 2 of them were against the Dodgers, and the last one that he had gave up 3 runs and got just 1 out. That was the final appearance that he made. Rios, who grounded out his first time. That misses just inside, and it's 1-1.
Scheduled to play.
Brant Brown. There
Sorry, Joe.
It's okay.
I was thinking about dinner. Scheduled to play 7 or 8 innings.
1 and 2.
You're back in LA and you got dinner plans. You might be able to see this whole game.
Yeah. The games, like the pitchers, have been building up in length. Started off 5-6 innings, but seen some 9-inning games recently. They're the novelty now. Slapped the short. Rojas with a busy inning. He's part of all 3 outs in a 1-2-3-4. Some of the starters got their work in, headed for the showers. They'll be added again tomorrow. First off day of spring training, by the way, doesn't come until Saturday. They're going to have played 12, 13 games straight before their first off day of the spring. So a few innings from Kershaw, 1 from Jansen, and now here's Blake Trinan.
See if the sinker's working here. He has some outings last year where it was just devastating. His velocity is really good, and I love his breaking ball too. He's got a chance to really have a big year.
Bottom third of the D-backs order up there to face him. Strike 1 on Dalton Varsho. Beginning him with a cutter, which we saw more and more, especially through the postseason. So regular season, he was almost exclusively sinker slider with that cutter in his back pocket the whole time, just wanting to make sure that his bread and butter were locked in, the sinker and the slider, and they were. So he started to bring that cutter along in the postseason. The opponents went 1 for 17 against that pitch. And after bringing it along late, he enters 2021 really with a true 3-pitch mix, 3 good pitches, and you don't often see that in the back end of a bullpen. His 0-2 to Varsho.
Sometimes, like a starting pitcher that has a deep mix, there'll be outings where the slider's really working good, and then there'll be another outing where the cutter's working good or the curveball's working good. So a reliever with a 3-pitch mix within the confines of a series, a 3-game series, he might be able to mix up his outings a little bit more, even though he might have to go through the same portion of the lineup. They could see some different pitches and not have an eye on him.
Got away from him there, hits Varsho. A literal back foot breaking ball. The leadoff man on against Trinan. Pavin Smith now. Swings at the first pitch, fly to left. Matt Beatty, or replacement in for Beatty. That's Zach Rex. Drops in front of him, and the first 2 reach against Blake Trinan here in the 5th.
Not hit well, but hit in the right place. Trying to cut it a little bit more inside. It backed up on him, able to get the barrel of it on it barely and just slice it down the line.
Two on, nobody out. The 9-hitter Andy Young. ERAs often for relievers can be misleading, and especially in a 60-game season. So Trinan had a 3.86. Not bad, not great. You dig a little bit deeper though on his, in some of the peripheral numbers for him. He had an exceptional year. He had one of the lowest barrel rates against. It's a bouncing ball over the mound. Going to be a tough play for a charging Lux. Throws on the move to get him for the first out of the inning. Barrel rate just meaning limited good contact, more or less. He had the 3rd highest ground ball rate in baseball. That's what that sinker's designed to do. Only gave up 1 home run walk rate was more than cut in half from where it was in his down 2019 season. And how does the ERA become misleading? Well, he gives up 3 earned runs in 2 separate outings. He had a sub-2 ERA the rest of the year, but because there's so few outings, you put in a couple bad ones, and it's up near 4. Second and third for Peralta. Ground ball to second. Lux again. Game's tied at 2, and Peralta's driven in both for the Diamondbacks.
You tally how often they get them out with relievers, not how many runs they give up in a particular outing that they had of a bad night. It's really hard to recover an earned run average when you have a 3 to 5 run outing as a reliever and get only maybe a couple outs or an inning in the third.
Out of the 2 spot, Carson Kelly. That's ball 1.
If you have 9 more perfect outings after the tough outing, you still only have 10 innings, but you still gave up 5 runs. But in 9 of them, 9 out of 10 of the outings, you put up zeros, and that's really good for the manager.
All the numbers through that 60-game season. You gotta do a double take and see how much you can really believe whatever number it is you're looking at. Some of the rate stats a little more trustworthy, like the ground ball rate, like the rate of missing the barrel of the bat. Good stop by Barnes.
Well, they take that exit velocity in those barrel percentages, and then they can convert it into good or bad luck.
So a barrel is defined as a ball that's hit at a high exit velocity at the ideal launch angle, and barrel rate against would be how often you avoid those against you. Chop to third. Sheldon Noisy in the game there. Loads up and guns it across to get Kelly to finish the 5th, halfway home in a 2-2 game.
Team news and ticket information straight to your inbox. Register for Dodgers email alerts by visiting Dodgers.com/newsletter today.
Joe, Orl, and Kirsten back in Glendale, where the game is tied at 2. They're back into the bullpen with Jeremy Beasley, who last time he pitched in a full season, it was those numbers in the minors, but then made his major league debut last year by getting 1 out. He faced 3 hitters, 2 of them singled, struck 1 of them out. Another good example of ERAs being a little bit misleading for relievers. Spotless ERA in his rookie season. Gavin Lux leads off this 5th. Turns on a ball and sends it down the line, but foul. Two and one.
Beasley an attempt right there on a splitter after Gavin Lux turns on that fastball. Impressive foul ball, looking for something off speed to get him out front. Just didn't get through that pitch.
On a 2-2, Lux watches it fade way outside to run the count full. Peters and Raley to follow in this 5th inning. Good, the 3-2 again. I said halfway home going to break. I'm going to have to break that habit during spring training because they're not all 9.
You're going to have to calculate even today. It could be 7, could be 8.
Sit down, pull out the old calculator, figure out when to say it. Swings and misses, strike 3, 1 gone in the 5th.
One of those tweener situations. Thinking, is he going to come back with the split and try and land one, or is he going to go with the heater? It looked like he was sitting a little bit more off speed there and got beat by the fastball.
Bottom of the 5th inning, tied at 2, and DJ Peters, who struck out his first time, comes up. These teams have played 19 times this season, as all division opponents do, but they don't play until May 17th. So when the Dodgers see the Diamondbacks for the first time, they'll have already played Colorado 7 times, San Diego 7 times. And they'll see Arizona for the first time, and right after that, they'll see San Francisco for the first time. One and two.
The Dodgers and the Padres are going to try and pile up some W's against Colorado, Arizona, and San Francisco. And if for some reason the National League West ends up tight, your record against those 3 teams could possibly be the difference in the division.
You could make a pretty good argument that the 2 best teams in the league are in the West.
Yep.
And that 3 of the worst teams in the league are in the West. Peters down on strikes for the 2nd time tonight, 2 away in the 5th.
Right fielder, number 62, Luke Rayleigh.
It's a beautiful swing during batting practice. It's getting it at the big league level against the big league fastball, swinging through that pitch, because that ball is pretty much center cut, thigh high. That's one that DJ is going to want to make contact with.
Base is empty, 2 gone. Luke Rayleigh, ball 1. It was 19 games with the Padres, though, and I know we talk about this many nights. Those are going to be fun. Justin Turner said it's going to be like having 19 World Series games sprinkled throughout the regular season. Rayleigh grounds one into the shift. Yeah, that's a 1-2-3 inning. On to the 6th we go, tied at 2. Mr. Gonzalez took the National League West by storm last year, and then has just kept on getting better. He looked confident right away, but Dave Roberts has described him as just being that much more comfortable this spring and really believing that he belongs now.
He is one of the guys that you see arrive on the big league scene and you tip your hat to the minor league development guys, because he was not projected to be a big leaguer this quick. He was really on a downhill slide, but some major conversations, some kind of threats of, you know, we're going to have to pull you back into A ball if you don't get this act together. And he took it to heart, and he has really grown into a dominant force out of the Dodger bullpen and really has a very, very bright future ahead of him.
Tied at 2, 6th inning, heart of the order. Josh Rojas looks at ball 1. Before, though, he took it to heart. He said, "You're going to send me back a level? Well, then I quit." And he went home to Mexico and seriously considered ending his career. He was just about a year and a half removed from Tommy John surgery at this point. Velocity was like mid-80s. Wasn't getting anybody out. And his friends talked him into giving it another shot. He went back. He struggled some more. Went into spring training in 2019 thinking, not what level am I going to be, thinking I better perform really well or I'm going to get fired. I'm done. Made a team, figured it out, and made his major league debut last year. Didn't just make his major league debut, but this became a key piece to the World Series winning bullpen. He pitched in 8 games in the postseason, including getting the win in the clinching game of the World Series. That's a 2-1 fly to Josh Rojas. Ball 3. 25 years old out of Tuxpan, Mexico. Followed up that magical journey to the majors by getting married this offseason to Carolina. A walk to Rojas to open the 6th. It's a very, very rare thing from him. He faced 80 batters last year and walked 2 of them. It was the lowest walk rate in baseball. Leadoff man on for Trace Thompson. Part of what you love about a baseball season too, about following a team, getting a team that's your own. Over 162 game season, especially. I mean, we saw it over 60, but who are the new characters that are going to emerge? Who are you going to read about on the next page? 1 ball, 1 strike on Thompson. You know, there'll be names that we don't know yet that we'll be talking about in September and into October this year that at this point are afterthoughts. That was Victor Gonzalez last year. Here's his 1-1. Strike 2 on Thompson.
You got any names that come to head right now? Or front runners? I'm going to go with maybe a Zach McKinstry.
Yeah, and there are a lot of young pitchers that they're really liking.
Yeah.
We saw Josiah Gray again last night. Ryan Pepio, somebody they like a lot. First round pick Bobby Miller has flashed some really good things.
Saw him throw the other night. Boy, I liked his actions a lot. He can really spin a baseball, but just to watch his body move, it really looks like he's going to be very coachable and be able to learn a lot on the fly. Very athletic delivery.
Alex Vesia is a guy who they acquired in a trade this offseason that's off to an impressive start. And this system and this front office just keeps on finding guys and developing guys.
I think there's going to be some surprises even for the front office because, you know, a lot of these guys hadn't laid eyes on. You know, they developed for a year at home. You know, they weren't on the alternate site. They were just at home trying to figure it out, get stronger, and play catch, take BP on their own.
Thompson looks at strike 3. Yeah, that is going to be a fascinating dynamic. To the guys who lost the 2020 season, even the ones who are at the alternate site, you're scrimmaging against your buddies each day, and it was good for the situation. It was the best that we could come up with. But it's not the same as playing a 140-game developmental season. So what's that going to mean this year? What's that going to mean long-term for the guys that missed that season? You especially think about pitchers and their development, their build-ups with their arms. 1-on-1 out, Stephen Vogt. Strike 1.
The hardest pitch to develop when you are facing a friend, a teammate, or it's more of a inter squad or scrimmage is the inside fastball. Because you don't want to hit your friend, you don't want to hit your teammate, and to feel the aggression and the conviction that you need to bury a fastball inside in a 1-2 count or an 0-2 count or a 1-1 in a key situation, and you don't want to miss out over the plate. It's very hard.
Bounce back to Gonzalez, goes to Seager 1, late at first, Vogt aboard on the fielder's choice.
When you get the opposing uniform and the colors difference and you get in a competitive situation, it blurs any friendship that you have, and it's all about winning or losing, and it's a lot easier to bury that inside fastball. Pitching away, no problem. Throwing a breaking ball and making somebody look stupid and laughing a little bit with them, but throwing a little chin music in there or trying to light them up inside is a little different.
Runner at first, 2 gone, and a 2-2 game in the 6th. A little bit low with the first pitch breaking ball to Josh Van Meter. Julio Urias, who is best friends with Victor Gonzalez, both guys from Mexico, but when he was a kid, his grandpa would catch him. His dad would stand in as the batter and wear a glove. So, look, son, you can't hurt me. And that's how they taught him to be comfortable and confident teaching inside. You can't hit dad. So he wears a glove to make sure of it. little bit more around the zone than we're used to seeing Victor. 3 balls, no strikes.
Just not in rhythm right now. The body looks like it's moving good. I don't think he's in any pain at all. The velocity looks solid. I just timing it up early here in spring.
Second walk of the inning. 2 on with 2 out.
Center fielder number 12, Dalton Varsho.
There's Varsho.
A lot of times to get a pitcher back on track that's wandering around a strike zone with a couple of walks with his fastball. Catchers will go to the 0-0 breaking ball right here to kind of give him a different feel. Let's see if Austin Barnes wants him to go there.
Seager making sure you can't see it. Up and in for ball 1.
Looks a little disgusted for himself, taking a little individual team meeting back there as he grabs the rosin bag. Let's try a new thought and a new rhythm. Put down the right fingers this time, Austin.
We'll never know.
So the inventory in a pitcher's head right now is he's arm side high, especially with those last 2 pitches and most of his misses. He hasn't been missing low to the glove side at all or pulling the ball. The release point is too early. You need to be a little bit more patient with the delivery. Maybe think about throwing the ball about a heartbeat after your foot strikes out in front. At least he made an adjustment. Still didn't find a strike, but that's a better miss because it shows you that he's having a thought of getting the ball to the other side of the plate and down.
Only 6 strikes out of the 19 pitches for Gonzalez. That snaps a string of 7 straight balls for, again, the guy who had the lowest walk rate in baseball last year. Just one of those nights. Better to get it out of your system now. Digs it out, sends it in the air to right. Raley's moving back on it to the edge of the track. He lays out and makes the catch. Luke Raley in the game for Mookie Betts makes a diving catch to keep the game tied.
The route wasn't direct, but it ended in a positive way.
In the truck.
Your new World Series champions gear yet? The Top of the Park store is now open Tuesday through Saturday at Dodger Stadium. See Instagram at Dodgers Top of the Park for store hours and details on how to purchase for home delivery.
The blankets out, still a bit chilly. It's moving to mid-March. Taylor Gilbo comes into the game. Dodgers and Diamondbacks tied at 2. Thanks to the great play by Luke Raley. Fully extended to the edge of the warning track. Seager, Barnes, and Muncy coming up here in the 6th. Gilbo's first one is at the top of the zone, strike 1. Seager's 2-run home run accounting for the Dodgers scoring tonight. Re-emerged as one of the top hitters in baseball last year. Top 10 in homers, top 10 in RBIs, top 10 in slugging. Over 162 games. Would have calculated out to 40 home runs and 110 RBIs. Obviously, you have to keep that pace up over 162, but the 15 homers and 41 driven in, exceptional. Leading off this 6th. Fouling it off the hands, 2-2. Look back at his home run in the 3rd.
Pretty amazing with health that you could pencil him in for 40 home runs and over 100 RBIs. That is a foundational piece to any team, but then all the other star blood around him. This could be an amazing offense again.
It's one of the areas he made huge strides last year with 2 strikes. Major league average with 2 strikes is 167. Seager hit 278. That was 2nd in the majors, and it was 100 points higher than where he was the year before. Takes ball 4. That is something across the lineup they were really good at last year. The #1 OPS in baseball with 2 strikes. Had the lowest chase rate with 2 strikes in the majors. You combine that ability to be a tough out with the kind of thump that they have in the lineup. It is a nightmare to go through. It's replaced after the leadoff walk. This night's finished. Ronel Ravello, the pinch runner.
Well, you scare them out of the zone by crushing balls in the zone, and then you have to be patient to get the pitchers back in the zone, and that's what Corey Seager had an outstanding combination of that last year.
High strike on Barnes. Another good day for Seager. 2-run home run and then the walk. Barnes has a single and a ground out. It's a Baltimore chop to short. Rojas to second, 1 on to first, a double play.
First baseman number 13, Max Muncy.
6-4-3 wipes the bases clear and brings up Muncy. You know, Max is going to be a dad. Really Muncy expecting. In July with her first baby.
He'll be a good dad. Low-key personality.
Just don't cross him, baby.
He'll do just fine with the terrible 2s.
I don't know if any of us do just fine with that. It's easy for you to say several years beyond dealing with the terrible 2s.
Right. Take some patience.
Yeah. Two and 1. 30 years old, Max Muncy. 6th major league year coming up. 4th one with the Dodgers. After parts of 2 seasons in Oakland. Had 3 balls and 1 strike. Now last year, in a shortened season, only hit 192. His OPS was below league average as he dealt with that finger injury, and he refuses to use that as an excuse, but he hurts the finger in early July, and it's going to have an effect on your swing. And then you don't have the length of season to be able to dig out of what in a normal season is a bad start. But we saw him start to hit his stride in the postseason, right? He had the #2 OPS on the team. Only Corey Seager had a higher on-base plus slugging in October. A lot of that was buoyed by just a crazy amount of walks. He had 20 walks in 18 games. Only guy ever to have more walks in a single postseason, Barry Bonds. On a 3-2 from Gilbo, Muncy fouls it again. Those are the kinds of ones during the regular season you've got to hit the mute button or bleep it after.
Yes.
Max has that result.
Well, he's made some nice swings today. This is another one. full extension. There is no holding back right there. The hands and the forearms look very healthy.
Try the 3-2 again. Muncy couldn't lay off, and the inning is over. So a scoreless 6 for Taylor Gilbaugh sends this game to the 7th, tied at 2. After the game for Access Sportsnet, Dodgers presented by your Southern California Ford dealers. You and I will slide over there into the casual corner. Hoodies and shorts.
I don't know. I brought sport coat and tie. Did a little segment on the pregame. We're going to have to see what your wardrobe brings tonight for the postgame.
Hoodie and shorts. Dennis Santana on the pitch. It's another guy having a really good spring that will face off with the bottom part of the order. You get strike one on Pavin Smith. Coming into spring training, he's a name that you recognize, but didn't necessarily pencil into your prospective rosters. But the kind of way he's performed, he's starting to become part of that conversation when you look at the opening day roster.
He can fill a lot of roles. He could be the kind of guy that could give you some length. The type of pitcher that as he breaks into the big leagues could be one of the guys that could rescue a bullpen and be the guy that really picks up some innings and some tough games, and then also develop into somebody that you put into a high leverage. I think he's going to end up being a ground ball machine, kind of like Blake Trinan or Scott Alexander, where they really have outstanding sinking fastballs, and then he can really spin a baseball. So if he gets into a situation where he needs a strikeout, he can rely on his breaking stuff.
Ahead of Smith 0-2. Did he go? He did. Strike 3.
It's a prime example of a good breaking ball right there. Sharp and late. Tough to hold up on.
2-2 in the 7th. And Santana gets ready to face the 9-hitter Andy Young. Young 0 for 2 so far tonight. Strikeout and a ground out. One of the returns on the Paul Goldschmidt deal from St. Louis a few years back. What if I had told you in 2018 to picture a St. Louis Cardinals infield that had Paul Goldschmidt at first and Nolan Arenado at third on the Cardinals? Weird, right?
Very weird.
In on the hands, 1-2.
If they both have years like they're in their prime, it would be pretty interesting to play the Cardinals.
Wide open Central.
Well, they both, over the course of their careers, at times have been Dodger killers, especially Goldschmidt.
Yeah, guys that you love watching, but you're okay with not seeing 19 times a year against the Dodgers. That falls in, strike 3, back-to-back Ks to open the 7th for Santana.
With Arenado over the last few years, we've always come into the series saying, let's not let him get hot. He's had some tough times coming into the series against us, and we're like, oh, you just got to still be wary. We don't want to get him wound up. But Goldie, he seemed like it didn't matter what series it was. He was going to pummel on the Dodgers.
Stuart Fairchild, with the bases empty and 2 gone, takes ball 1. Pop up. Santana wants it, but not going to let him have it. At third, Noisy's got it. Santana will take the 1-2-3 inning. We stretch in a 2-2 game. We're back in Glendale, Arizona, tied at 2 to the bottom of the 7th of what we think is an 8-inning game tonight. Anthony Swarzak is on to pitch for the Diamondbacks. 35-year-old who is entering his 11th season in the majors with his 9th different team.
That's a track record.
The well-traveled man.
Yeah.
Last pitch in the majors in 2019, split with Seattle and Atlanta.
I think the record holder for most teams for a successful big league career is Mike Morgan.
Okay. Edwin Jackson would be up there. Sheldon Noisy's first at bat of the night starts with a ball.
I think the number of teams is like north of 15.
Two and 0. Yes.
What was that?
I got it right. Edwin Jackson, 14 teams played for.
14, you got it.
Octavio Dotel is second. He played for 13 teams.
Where's Mike Morgan?
Right after that with
12. Only a dozen? I was so far off.
3-0 on Noisy. He's tied with Matt Stairs. Paul Bacco making an appearance on the list. Anytime you get a Paul Bacco reference in, you're going to do it.
I love the fact that you cheered yourself as you found that.
It's a 4-pitch walk for Noisy.
That subtle yes.
Yeah, felt pretty good about it. You know what there is a lot of on this list are backup catchers. Right after Paul Bacco is Henry Blanco. If you're just tuning this in now, these are the list of most franchises played for. Rex looks at a strike. What'd you finish with?
Dodgers.
I know that. I mean, how many?
Dodgers, Indians, Mets, Giants.
Okay.
Back to the Dodgers.
4. Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see what the average is. Probably going to be 1.
Right. Muscles this one into right center field. That'll dunk in for a base hit. The first two have reached for the Dodgers in a tie game in the 7th.
The question would be average number of teams played for with a minimum of 10 years in the big leagues.
That's a great,
it might be
great bar question.
Because you're saying the person you're talking about is a bona fide big leaguer, been up in the league for 10 years off and on, or there the whole time, but in different organizations. I could see utility players, you know, the 24th, 25th guy on the roster, seeing a lot of different teams, the 10th or 11th pitcher.
First and third, nobody out. Matt Davidson.
And you pegged one there from your list with the backup catchers.
You make yourself useful. You make yourself a guy that teams are going to keep around, even if you're not the best player in the room. I wonder what I'm just trying to think what my guess would be. So we're setting the floor, what, a minimum of 10 years in the majors. What is the average number of teams for guys that have played a minimum of 10 years?
Yes.
I'm going to say like 2.8, 2.9.
Okay. I'm going to, yeah, because of average, you're right. There's going to be, 10% of them are going to only play for 1 or 2 organizations.
Yeah. Maybe I'm low.
I don't know. I think a good 25% of those guys that had 10 years in the big leagues probably played for at least 4 organizations, maybe 5.
2-1 on Davidson.
There are guys that are probably not signing long-term deals. There are guys that are probably coming to camp with split deals, or you have an out in your contract if you're not on our team because they're going to be useful somewhere else in the National League or American League. So they're going to want an out in their contract even though they don't have a guaranteed job. I'm going to get an answer to that question before the spring's over.
You're going to find it?
No, I'm going to assign that to Rick Krajewski.
Okay. I don't know if you're going to get the old pad of paper and the pen out and crunch those numbers for us.
If I was assigned to that, it wouldn't be accurate.
Well, it would, because you'd get the answer from Krajewski.
An estimate for me.
2-2 in the old Diamondback. Matt Davidson watches it down the pipe for strike 3 in the first out.
Swarzak with a fastball, sinker, slider. Last year threw an awful lot of sliders, and this one was not one. This was the fastball. Almost 60% sliders last year. When you throw 60% sliders, you get some hitters to blink through your fastball down the middle.
Michael Busch, one of the young guys that is getting mentioned a lot in Dodger spring training. Healthy rip and a miss. A guy who is a natural first baseman but has been learning to play second. He's playing the corner outfield spots. First round pick out of North Carolina just 2 years ago. Busch with a chance to break this tie. On an 0-1 pitch, he watches it catch the corner 0-2.
In this day and age, especially if you want to be a Dodger, you've got to be versatile. It was a new concept years ago. Now it's a given. And it is definitely something that you can win a world championship with now, and the Dodgers have proven it. The culture has been completely changed. It doesn't matter if you're a veteran joining the Dodgers or a youngster coming from the minors looking for a job, an everyday job. Versatility is the key, and the culture, and the transition is over. It is over. Dave Roberts does not have to have those conversations with guys anymore about you need to be willing to move around.
It's who they are now.
It is.
Ryan Noda with first and third and 2 gone. They're just trying to take advantage of this opportunity. They had first and third, nobody out. Noda looks at ball 1. It's not just who they are, but it is who a lot of teams are trying to be now. The Padres have talked about their roster construction, trying to aim for the Dodgers when it comes not just to being the best team in the division, but in terms of their versatility and the flexibility on the roster and the overall depth.
You know, with players, you talk about 5-tool players. Well, you got multiple tools in managers. Dave Roberts, one of the shining tools was to usher in this new day of Dodger baseball, and you're not always going to hit third, you're not always going to play third base, you're not always going to play center field, and you're not always going to hit second. You know, you're going to be moved around, and he ushered that in, and he did a magnificent job. And now he's going to show the tool of having a unbelievable world championship caliber roster, and the tool of guiding a team that has just won a World Series and is expected to win another one. And I think he's just the man for the job. He's just done a fabulous job.
3-1 on Noda. 6th year for Dave Roberts coming up. 3 pennants in the first 5. Tied at 2, 7th inning. A 3-1 pitch to Noda. Swung on and missed, and the count is full.
One thing about Dave that I really appreciate, and I know the players do, when you're talking to him, he's present. He is with you. You know, he's involved in the conversation. For a guy who has so much on his plate and so many different things coming up in his schedule that he's just left or is just heading towards, the moment he's with you, you know he's there.
Dodgers waste an opportunity here. They had first and third, nobody out, and can't score. So Swarzak gets out of it and stays tied at 2 to the 8th. Garrett Clevenger, the Dodgers acquired in a trade this offseason on to pitch in a 2-2 game in the 8th. He's made 3 appearances this spring and not given up a run yet.
Caleb Ferguson on his way back, but not going to be soon enough. Clevenger's got an opportunity to show off some left-handed talent to maybe make a dent in the Dodger bullpen.
He'll turn 27 next month, native of Lawrence, Kansas, and then an Oregon Duck. It's probably a path that's not been traveled too many times, from Lawrence, Kansas to Eugene, Oregon. And into the major leagues, making his debut with the Phillies last year. Been to Eugene?
I have not.
Beautiful.
Is it?
Have you read Shoe Dog? Seth Beer comes up.
No.
You should read that. It's the Phil Knight autobiography.
Oh, wow. I get the title now.
Yeah. 1 ball, no strikes. I think, why would I read about it? Whatever a Shoe Dog is.
I was thinking, I don't know. What is the Shoe Dog?
Great book. Real page turner, Earl.
I need him to be that way.
You know what I'm a big fan of? Short chapters. When I see, like, you know, you can leaf through 4 or 5 pages and feel like you've accomplished something by getting to the next chapter, I dig it. It can be
gives you a chance to get a break from the book, like, okay, I did
you're
something.
Making progress.
Yeah. So a good 20 minutes or a half hour, and you've gotten your chapter and maybe two.
Right.
And you feel like you're moving along. And if it's a chapter, it's probably a point in the story that you really remember.
Could be, yeah.
Pretty condensed,
right.
You know. It's not some long character development.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Beer. Swings and misses, and Clevenger opens the 8th with a K.
A high heater that can tie up any hitter if they offer at it.
We're under the impression that this will be a 8-inning game, so perhaps the last chance here for Arizona. Wyatt Matheson comes up. He fouls off Clevenger's first offering.
Field mics are picking up somebody that's excited about something.
Life. He's at a ball game. Matheson, who made his major league debut last year after 8 minor league seasons. Behind Clevenger, 0-2 now. We were having that conversation about what the average number of teams played for you figure would be for guys with a minimum of 10 years in the majors. Our friend Steve Berthume, the Diamondbacks television voice, sent us a message and said, check out Tyler Clippard, who Arizona just got. 10 teams he's played for.
Is he broadcasting the game on the other network and he's listening to us?
He is really talented, doing both at the same time. He's got Bob Brantley in one ear and you and me in the other. And I don't know how he's doing it.
Way to go,
boy,
Steve.
Strike 3 called on Matheson and 2 gone in the 8th. Hello to Mike Farron as well, one of the radio men for the Diamondbacks who's tuned in.
Clevenger with a high fastball to record 1 strikeout, and there that one with a breaking ball.
Yeah, Tyler Clippard, 36 years old. He's entering his 15th major league year. His second stint with the Diamondbacks are one of 10 teams that he's played for. He was there in 2016. He just signed a couple of 36-year-old relievers in Clippard and Joaquim Soria. Trace Thompson will swing away at the first pitch and send it to the seat. Strike one. It's an Arizona team that had 3 straight winning seasons for the first time since the early part of this century. Prior to last year, going 25-35. I think back just a few seasons ago, 2018, they were in first place most of the year. They were in first place for 125 days. And the year before that, went to the postseason, won the wild card game against the Rockies, got swept by the Dodgers in the division series. It's off the glove at short of Jacob Amaya, and Thompson aboard with 2 gone. But they've overhauled the roster. We talked about Goldschmidt going to St. Louis. Of course, A.J. Pollock, a free agent, signed with the Dodgers. They traded Greinke. They got Mike Leake. They got Zach Gallen, who they think could be one of the best pitchers in the league and has shown in somewhat limited time in the majors that he's got a chance to be that. Of course, acquired Bumgarner, Cole Calhoun, who, by the way, just had knee surgery and is probably not going to be ready for opening day. So they've really turned things over. They traded 4 guys away at the deadline last year, and Mike Hazen, the GM, said, look, you can't go chasing something that isn't there, was his quote. And he looked at what they had, and he tried to envision it being different a year from then if he didn't make any changes, and he just couldn't. So he decided to shake it up, and a lot of guys being given opportunities to show what they've got, show they can be part of the future for Arizona. Big thing for Arizona in the short term, though, is the guys that have shown they can be really good players have to be good players. They had horrible seasons from Eduardo Escobar. Not a horrible year for Ketel Marte, but it was nothing close to what he did in 2019. Those guys have to be better. In 2019, Eduardo Escobar and Ketel Marte combined for 67 home runs. They combined for 6 last year. I know it was a 60-game season, but that's a 16 home run pace after hitting 67 together. Another 0-2 from Clevenger to Herrera. Got him swinging with a back foot breaking ball to finish off a scoreless 8th. To the bottom half we go. The Dodgers with a chance to win in walk-off fashion or tie. Face the Mariners tomorrow, and we get another look at Trevor Bauer, who has pitched 5 scoreless innings so far for the Dodgers this spring.
We have so many pitchers that we look forward to seeing. It is just unbelievable the way we get to see Kershaw. Oh, and tomorrow's Trevor Bauer. Oh, and the next day could be David Price, or it could be Dustin May. It could be somebody that you can't wait to see. And Trevor Bauer, maybe he'll pitch with 2 eyes tomorrow.
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. A method to the madness, though. I think it's important to point out. Kevin Ginkel on to pitch. Delivers strike 1 to Luke Raley. It's something that Trevor does almost every day in his practice and in his training. And the whole idea is simply that if you make practice harder than the games are going to seem easier. A pop up behind third. Off of the palm of the glove. And the Dodgers catch a break to open this 8th inning. Raley is at second, taking nothing for granted. And just like that, the winning run in scoring position.
I wish Trevor Bauer would have been in baseball when I was active. It would have been fun to hear about what he was doing, to see what he was doing, because he definitely pushes the envelope. And I think the Dodgers are going to be much better off having him on the team. Not only what he brings on the field, but the challenges that he brings as far as wanting to get better every day and keeping his mind open to new and fresh ideas.
A trailblazer, really.
Yeah.
In so many ways, kind of the player trailblazer of this analytical movement in baseball. Here's Ravello. And there's ball 1.
I can't imagine pitching with 1 eye, but I would have loved to try it. And, you know, I think the biggest challenge that I gave myself in spring training to get better at different times was you can only throw 2 breaking balls this inning, and you better pick when you want to use them. And a lot of times get through the whole inning without even throwing a breaking ball because you're saving it for if you get into a jam. Or I'm only going to pitch away this inning and see how good I can be. And when you get through an inning like that by limiting your tools, you feel so much more invincible when all of a sudden you have 3 other pitches that you could choose from.
Ravello sends one in the air to left center field. Long run, not going to get there. A ground rule double that should end the game, right? We don't know, but the suspense is killing me.
Well, we don't end games on runs now. We wait for pitch counts and workload.
Yeah, we're going to keep playing.
I think so. Maybe up to 20 pitches.
This could be the first inning in baseball history with multiple walk-off hits. So 3-2, the Dodgers lead, bottom of the 8th inning. Here's Jacob Amaya. Fouls off the first one.
This right here is the game-winning hit.
It is.
And if you go to MLB.com right now, the Dodgers standings should change.
Yeah.
But we're still playing. It's a new kind of mind game to still be on the mound and know you've already lost.
Yeah.
This is where you really got to say, I'm out here for management, my pitching coach, and the scouts, and the front office to show them what I can do and get my work in.
Kinkle's been part of the Diamondbacks bullpen each of the last 2 seasons. Was really good in 2019. Not so much last year. He had a 6.75 ERA. We talked earlier about how reliever ERAs can be deceiving. He had a couple 4-run blowups that I guess could skew it some. But hard to see a number like 6.75 and think that it was a good year. It might have been as bad as 6.75 might make you think. Certainly not good. Full count on Amaya.
You know, next level on studying a reliever is, when did those blowups come? Was it when we increased the leverage of the situation on the individual? Was it, are his good outings come when we're behind by 3 runs, and his bad outings are coming when we're tied or ahead by 1? And so we'll look into the psyche of who can handle the moments, especially from the 7th inning on when the game is on the line.
Well, in Ginkel's case, his 2 4-run blowups came in his relatively lower leverage outings. Amaya slaps it foul. He made 19 appearances total. And in 17 of those 19 appearances, he gave up 1 run or 0 runs.
That's that trust factor managers and pitching coaches need, that you know who can perform in those situations.
Included a few games against the Dodgers. Just misses here, and Amaya's got to walk.
The catcher, number 80, Stevie Berman.
Stevie Berman with runners at first and second. All 3 have reached in this inning. Door open thanks to the air to open the inning. And a double from Ravello. Stevie Berman out of Mountain View, California. Takes a strike. The 31st round draft pick out of Santa Clara. Now at an 0-1, Berman bends out of the way, and it's 1-1. Same time, same place tomorrow. 5 o'clock start time. Dodgers and Mariners as Trevor Bauer takes it for LA. Dave Roberts was asked today, as he is pretty much every day during spring training, if he's ready to name a opening day starter, and he said, well, we got a few good options, don't we? I think he said 3 options, so Kershaw, Buehler, Bauer, I think would be the 3 that he was referencing.
And I think out of respect, that decision is going to run through number 22.
Opening day will be at Coors Field this year, where they're going to have more than 20,000 fans in attendance. That drops into left field, base hit, because he had to wait to make sure that it would fall. They go station to station, and the bases are loaded.
Third baseman number 56, Shelton Noisy.
Be interesting if they decide to roll this inning at some point.
You can do it at 20 pitches.
Yeah, and it'd be one thing to protect the scoreboard and another thing to protect your pitcher's psyche.
Go to Noisy with the bases loaded. Walked his first time. Acquired from the Oakland A's this offseason. Looks at strike 1. So March 10th, opening day 3 weeks from tomorrow.
Well, it's exciting to think about. And I'm really excited for the ring ceremony for the guys. It'll be fun for everybody to see what they look like.
Big. Shiny. They go 4 in Colorado, 3 in Oakland, and then the home schedule begins the Washington Nationals. Kind of a random opening day opponent. Dave Roberts said it's going to feel like a World Series game at Coors Field when they got 20-some thousand fans in there.
Right.
Noisy went around, 1 gone. It'd be weird to see those Rockies with no one Arenado at third. Ryan McMahon's going to be manning the hot corner now. It'll be weird to see a Rockies team where the pitching is the surer thing between the pitching and the hitting.
Yeah. Charlie Blackmon. We'll see how kind of a start he gets off to.
He was hitting 500 after like 3 weeks last year.
Exactly.
That's a big deal in a 60-game season.
Yeah.
Here's Rex. Strike 1.
Well, he was one of the leading stories of the season there.
It's a great reminder of how impossible it is to hit 400. 60-game season, right? He's halfway through it hitting 405, and he finished hitting 300.
On the button.
303.
Okay.
A few buttons up.
A few threads.
This will be Blackmon's 11th year in Colorado, longest tenured Rocky. A lot of turnover on that roster, too.
Trevor Story.
Final year of his contract.
It'll be interesting to see how the season plays out for him.
Yeah, if he's there at the end of the year. You got to think, though, if there's any doubt that they can sign him, don't they need to trade him? Just given where the organization is right now?
Yeah, that would be the official beginning of we are for sure rebuilding.
Yeah. I mean, they're more than dipping a toe in the rebuilding pool at this point. Right. Having traded Arenado, not gotten back a whole lot.
And part of that equation was a little bit of unrest.
Yep. One and two. Rex swings and misses. 2 out. Going to give Ginkel a chance to work his way out of this, it appears.
It's a full-blown workout when you get above 20 pitches, even in the regular season. And early in spring training to be able to push them at this level. The little card he keeps pulling out as he goes to face Matt Davidson is going over the different signs, sets of signs that they have with a man on second base.
That's high on Davidson, ball one. Mentioned facing his old team, facing his hometown team. He's a Phoenix guy and was drafted in the first round by the Diamondbacks years ago. Debuted with them. White Sox, a couple 20 home run seasons, then the Reds, and on camp with the Dodgers for the first time. Looking for the second walk-off hit of this inning.
You can really build the drama. I got to believe this is the last batter of the game.
One way or another.
Yeah.
You know how to build the drama, too. Swatted the other way. Thompson is there. Thompson's friend who replaced him hours ago. You were so right, though. I think it's the last batter of the game.
It's going to be fun to be here tomorrow night with you. See Trevor Bauer.
Back at you, buddy. Trevor Bauer and the Dodgers against the Seattle Mariners tomorrow. 3-2, they win this one. Angel Ravello with a game-winning hit in the 8th inning after Clayton Kershaw gave up the leadoff home run to David Peralta. He was good over 3 innings of work. They passed the baton to a 3-2 win in a night where they got a home run from Corey Seager as well. Be with you with pregame show at 4:30 tomorrow. Stay tuned for Access Sportsnet Dodgers.